Good morning. I figured I'd do part 2 of check things before you buy. I got a lot of comments on the first part, and I have some other things I couldn't think the other day. I should have written some stuff down. Today I wrote stuff down. So one thing that I would do is I'd have them put water in the water tank. Then I'd pressurize the system, either through the water pump or have them put a hose on it. Either one doesn't make any difference. And then I'd turn the water pump on. It'll run for a second, then it should shut off if all the faucets are shut off. And then I'd go around and I'd check the faucets, make sure there's no drips. Because if the faucets drip at all, even if one's just dripping a drip every 3 or 4 minutes, you're going to hear that pump turn on. And when I noticed it was in the middle of the night, it just turned on for it seemed like a half a second, just enough to bring the pressure back up. But I had a real slow leak on one of the valves after I had put it back together. I didn't even know it was there. That's how little it was leaking, but I could hear that pump turn on. Oh, probably about once an hour. It only turned on for just a second, just enough to bring that pressure back up. But that's one thing to check. Another thing that wouldn't hurt to check is open up the door underneath the sinks. There should be a door underneath your kitchen sinks, and probably 2 doors underneath the kitchen sinks, and one in the bathroom. And look at the shelf underneath and see if there's a lot of water stain. Now, if there is, odds are the drains have leaked or are leaking. We have a leak in ours, but we've been using it right along. It didn't leak when we got it, but it does now. And it was in the kitchen sink. We have the 70-30 split sink in it, and one side was leaking around where the basket goes in. So I tore it apart, took the whole thing apart, redid it, and put it back in. Well, lo and behold, I'd moved stuff just enough, so I got it all back together. It was fine. The other side started leaking. So what I should have done originally was just taken them both out and done them both at the same time. Anyway, it's a pain in the butt getting in there. It's pretty tight, but it's something that's fixable. I mean, it's not a big deal. So we got that taken care of. But like I said, it doesn't hurt to check the stuff. Okay. When you buy an RV, like a Class A, and I don't know why, because we've looked at probably 35 or 40 of them. I noticed out of all that we looked at, only one of them had a sewer hose with it and a fresh water hose. The rest of them, they were all mysteriously gone. I don't know if people keep them, which is what he told me. He says people will usually keep that stuff. So I would get after the dealer and tell him, you want to sell the coach. We're talking less than $100 to put a sewer hose in it and a fresh water hose. The sewer hose, you want to have them put in a minimum of 20 feet. That should pretty much take care of it. If you need more than that, then yeah, you should buy it yourself. Same with a fresh water hose, a 25-footer, 20-footer, whatever they've got. They're going to throw these things in. They want to sell that coach. If it's going to cost them less than $100 to sell the coach, they're going to do it. Same with the electrical power. I made an extension cord for mine. Mine had like a 25-foot cord on it, and which I think is reasonable. But some of them don't. Some of them just have a little short pigtail on them. So if it just has a little short pigtail on them, make them throw in that 25-footer extension. They're going to do it, believe me. It doesn't cost them that much. And they want to sell that. They want to sell that coach pretty bad. The longer it sits there, the less they're going to get for it. So they want it out of there. Tires, Should check the dates on the tires. I'd say probably if I was going to buy, well, we are going to buy another coach, I'm going to make sure the tires are less than 4 years old. If they're over 4 years old, they're probably still good, but you only got a couple of years in them. Tires are expensive. I mean, we're talking around probably $2,000 to $3,000 for tires alone. So if you see a tire that's got any checks or anything in it, and by checks I mean little cracks, whether they be horizontal or vertical, doesn't make any difference. If they're there, that tire is going to let go before too long. So make sure the tires are good on it. Especially, I mean, if you're buying an older coach, I'm saying something from the 90s or something like that, and it's from a dealer, they're probably not going to replace the tires for you. But if it's a newer coach and you're paying, $50,000, $60,000, $70,000 for it or more, they should make sure that the tires are right. So, and batteries. I would open up the battery box, which on ours happens to be just a side cover on the side, just like the storage. It looks just like a storage bin, only there's batteries in it. I'd look at the batteries. If they got 2 or 3 inches of corrosion all around them, make sure that they fix that. And I'd check the date on the batteries too. Because some of these coaches have batteries in them that are 7 and 8 years old, and they're barely hanging on, but they are hanging on. You're going to end up replacing those, and batteries are not cheap. So that's one thing I do. And if there's a place for 2 batteries in there, and the cables are there, and there's only one, I'd make them put the second one in. It doesn't hurt to try, because eventually you're going to end up spending. And if you boondock it all, you're going to need batteries. I know ours has 2 batteries in it for boondocking. And of course you got the batteries are all together, even the one that starts the coach. So you want to check the date on that too, because a lot of times, well, on a few of them we've heard, we have to jump start it or charge it. It's been setting for a while. Well, even setting for a while, they haven't had it that long. The battery shouldn't be dead on it. So, like I say, check the date on the battery too. Make sure the battery's only a couple of years old at the most. And I don't know what they're going to do for you on that, but it doesn't hurt to try. Anything you can get out of them is something you're not going to have to buy later on. Another thing that doesn't mean much, but I had to do it on ours, is when you close the screen door, I noticed there was a gap kind of all the way around it. It had like a foam stuff on it, but it was shot. I ended up replacing that myself, and it was a pain in the butt, scraping all that old stuff off. Then when you go to put the new stuff on, it seems like it wants to stick everywhere but where you want it to. So, that's just something to look for. I mean, they're not gonna mess with you on something like that. They'll do it. Anyway, that's about all I got for now. Everything was important. I didn't want to skip anything. I know I must have missed something, but one thing that, yes, I did miss something, the awning. Put the awning down. I don't know if I said anything about this in the first video or not. Ours had a slight tear in it, which they fixed. It was up towards the top, and if it's got a slight tear, that tear's just going to walk, and it'll walk pretty quick, especially if there's any wind at all where you're at. Our awning's down most of the time. Another thing that wouldn't hurt to do on the awning is, if it's a sunny day and it's outside, walk up next to the coach and walk the full length of the awning and look for pinholes. If there's pinholes there, then more than likely, if the awning's in good shape, they make a sealer they can spray on there, and that'll last for a while, I guess every couple of years, because what happens is the threads dry out in the awning. And from rolling it up and down, the awning gets kind of thin in spots, and I've noticed it's always up towards where it fastens on the coach. You see like little pinholes in it where it's thinned out a little bit. But doesn't mean the awning's bad, just means it needs a new coating on it. These awnings aren't made to last forever. It's something that's rolled up constantly. So if you use it at all, like I say, we use ours all the time, but every time it starts getting a little bit windy and I'm a little worried about it, I put the awning back up rather than take a chance on losing it in the wind. So that's something to think about too. If I think of anything else, I'll make another video. But for right now, that should do. It gives you something to think about anyhow, and I'm sure you'll find other things that... But like I said, make sure you try everything in the vehicle. If it doesn't work within reason, they'll fix it. So, for now, this is Have Gas Will Travel, Handsome Jack.